Hello and welcome to a brief introduction of my AW139 load and trim sheet. The sheet itself is separated into 4 sections. At the top you have the pictorial representation of the aircraft. You have a manifest with freight information, a longitudinal and lateral centre of gravity diagram, and flight information down the bottom. At the far bottom right you have the 4 go, no-go items, which are your longitudinal and lateral centre of gravity, all-up gross weight and baggage compartment weight. If any of these items are exceeded, you will have a red cell to the right with an exceed, as well as a red background to the aircraft registration cell on the top left of the load sheet. Today I'm going to briefly demonstrate some key features of this program, and I'll follow up at a later date with some more in-depth videos for a more fuller explanation. So today I'm going to demonstrate the aircraft configuration change user form. I'm going to take you through the chart E and show you how it continually updates as you change the configuration of the aircraft. And I'm going to show you how to change the configurations that you have set within the program. So starting with the aircraft config change user form. Okay, so as you can see, you've got the registration at the top of the aircraft picture. You can change regos by dropping down the box and selecting the registration. You can store any number of aircraft in this program. So if you select the rego and hit update, you'll see the registration is changed on the load sheet, as has the basic empty weight if it differs from the previous aircraft. You can also deselect seats from the configuration and re-add them by ticking the boxes and again selecting update. You'll see in the center of the user form there's standard configurations. Now I have 7 configurations visible. You can actually use 8 configurations. The 8th is currently not visible, and if it's named correctly it will remain invisible when not in use. So to change configuration, you simply select the option button and select update, and the configuration that you have set will now appear in the load sheet. So if you have additional crew indicated in the configuration, this additional crew user form will appear, and you can simply select your crew by using the drop down menus. You might have an offshore medevac configuration, a SAR configuration, maybe you're an EMS operation. But back to the SAR configuration for demonstration purposes. Okay, down under the standard configs you have the additional items. These are all items that you have entered into the program. Now, if you want to add, you can actually add any additional items to the configuration, but you cannot subtract because the items indicated have been set in the configuration, which I'll show you how you can change that a bit later. But for instance, if you want to add the wet deck, you can do that by selecting the wet deck, clicking update, and that will be added to the aircraft in the basic empty weight. And you can deselect it. If you wanted to add an additional item to this list box, you can simply select the additional items button, double click on the next available line, and enter the item. So that's 10 kilos, has a longitudinal arm of 5,000 and a lateral arm of 200. Update, you can see that's now entered in the list. Next time you open this user form, it'll be in the list. So if you reselect the SAR configuration, you can now add the test item, and you can see the basic empty weight should increase by 10 kilos. So 63, that's now 73. If you want to get rid of the additional item, simply double click, select delete, and it is no longer in the list. Now if you actually want to change the configuration itself, say you don't want this bubble window in the configuration any longer, you can select options, update configurations. From the drop down list, select the configuration you would like to change, find the item, bubble window, there it is, double click, delete. That's now gone from the configuration. The next time you load the configuration, the bubble window will be gone. Again, if you want to put it back in there, it is still in the additional items list, so you can add it and subtract it. Additionally, if you want to add something to the configuration, again, select the configuration you'd like to change, double click on the next available line. So we want to add a rescue crewman. Now you see you need to add a seat. If you don't, you just get this message to say it's an incomplete entry. If you want to put them in seat A, simply type A, update. The RCO is now in the configuration, so when you enter the configuration, you should be asked to enter the RCO. That would be update, and you can see the RCO is now entered in seat A. His weight's not in the manifest because it's actually included in the basic empty weight of the aircraft. So if you put some pilots in, you can clear the pilot by selecting the box here. Update the RCO back in and close. So now we're all set. If you see down here, the zero fuel mass has been calculated for this configuration. If you go into the chart E, the helicopter 12-seat configuration is the start index. Anything that's been added or subtracted is calculated here to give you your takeoff configuration. Obviously we don't have fuel just yet. But before I demonstrate the fuel, if you want to add a winch load, you simply click on the winch, add the load, select update. If there's a number here, then there is a load on the winch, and you can also check that in the chart E. It should have been added, so there's the winch load of 120 kilos. Update it again. If you have a winch, that means there's nothing on, no load on the winch, and we can check that again in the chart E. So that's been updated, and it's now cleared. So now all we have left to do is enter the fuel. You do that in the manifest. Fuel and freight. 850 of fuel, 30 of taxi, input. Down below you'll now have your zero fuel mass and takeoff mass indices on the charts. Again, you can check your chart E. So fuel has been entered 820. That's all good to go. And now all that is left to do is to save the document. So once you save it, which you do by clicking the Save and Create PDF option button, it's doing two things. It's saving a copy of the workbook to a designated file that you've selected, and it's also creating a PDF and saving the PDF to a designated file that you've also selected. Now, the good thing about saving a PDF, it has a timestamp for when it was created, and it prints 2 pages, the chart E and the load sheet, so you can print that double-sided, put that in your paperwork, and you're good to go flying. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration of the AW139 load and trim sheet, and I'll follow up with some more in-depth videos at a later date. Thank you.